meat and curry, I'm your man. Cause how we'll lose it is a mystery. It's like the changing of our wardrobes from a dire history. But it's the one making us not stop. 50 kilograms is all we've got to drop. La 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 la, la 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 la.
Happy to come back with you guys, and we'll do a mini intake, okay? Tell us what you want to accomplish, weight-wise, health-wise, and tell us a little bit about your story, about yourself, how you feel like you got here, how you feel like you struggled. You know, go back as far as you want. When we want your earliest memories of sugar, finding it, stealing it, hiding it, whatever. And then, you know, any drinking, any kind of addictions in your family, type 2 diabetes. We want to hear about all of it as best you can. I know we don't have a lot of time, but the intake is the most important. So if it's 10 or 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's okay. We'll dive into it. And I'm, like I said, with Ian and Taylor, I'm willing to work with you guys if you're willing. If this format's okay and you're okay with this going out to YouTube and stuff, then you know, I'm willing to work with you guys and see if we can't you know, get you the success that Ian and Taylor have had. Okay, who wants to go first?
I mean, this is something I was completely unprepared for, and I'm a man that normally likes to prepare things, so that's not an issue. But we'll go with it. So yeah, my name's Jonty. I'm 36 years old. As of yesterday, it was my birthday yesterday. So I used to work with Ian and the guys until approximately October of this year. Now I am seeking a sort of healthier lifestyle, lifestyle changes away from the stresses of recruitment, because I actually started suffering from chronic headaches, which was the reason why I initially quit the job of working with Ian. I worked with Ian for 10 years, remaining good friends with him. Health-wise, diet-wise, yeah, as much of a yo-yo dieter as anyone. Potentially worse than Ian and Tay, because I actually got down to my sort of target weight of around sort of 14 stone, and kept the weight off for I think nearly like 2 years. So I thought I'd cracked it, and then I went on holiday to Thailand, came back and had like a month-long hangover. I had a month of comfort eating and put on like 3 stone.
Listeners and for the coaches,
20
tell us
kilos.
what a stone is.
20 kilos, 6.3, so 19 kilos or something would be 3 stone.
I think they operate in pounds over there, John.
Yeah, 14 times 3, 42 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stone is 42 pounds?
No, 3 stones, 42 pounds.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, not necessarily in a month. That was just an estimate, but I put a lot of weight on very quickly, and I've struggled to get it off again since. Yeah, what I would want to achieve from this. So I previously turned this down due to not wanting to give up alcohol, sort of seeking a sort of happy compromise of managing to drink alcohol in moderation. But I conveniently this week have made the decision to give up alcohol for 1 year due to just repeated failed attempts at drinking in moderation. And yeah, I'm single. I don't have any kids, so I'll still stay out drinking until sort of 5-6 in the morning. And just at my age now, the hangovers are just like I've probably had hangovers that have lasted a week from 1 day of drinking, and I can't do it to myself anymore. So I don't know. Some of my friends might think I'm lying, and I'm gonna ask them for a drink next week. But I've told everyone I know. I've told my parents. Like I've fully committed to going teetotal for 1 year. So yeah, this diet would work with that. So depending on how interesting it sounds, I could be interested to go with this diet. Is that good level. Is good level of summary.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's go back and forth. We'll start with Robert. One thing I do want to clarify, this is definitely not a diet. So we will not be doing push-ups, or we will not be doing shakes or pills, or there's no fanciness to it. Just real whole food. So anyway, Robert, go ahead.
Cool, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I'm Robert, I'm 35. Been friends with Ian and John for a long time. And we've been previous colleagues together. I currently weigh 175 kilos, which is the heaviest I've been.
Jonty, well, quickly, what's that in pounds? John's the maths guy.
385. I just looked it up.
Oh God,
nice.
yeah. That's not a conversion. I know. I'd have to do it.
Yeah, it's 385 pounds, or 0.19 of a US ton. So that's me. I'm a fifth of a ton. I was on the call with you, Mike, at the start of the year with Ian and Tay,
Right.
debating, looking at the shift to no sugar, and at that point I was still convinced that I could lose the weight, get down to the place I wanted to be, and be happy and healthy without the need to cut so many things out of my life. Since then, I've got bigger. Like all the ideas that I had, all of the plans that I've made, and kind of words I've had with myself to get myself ready to get fit and healthy, and just haven't come to fruition. And I think I've had a very stressful start to the year for different reasons, and it's made me notice my link with stress eating. That I've definitely got an emotional. I had definitely have a challenge with emotional stress eating that I can't seem to shake. And then there's the whole piece around alcohol. I don't drink a huge amount, but I do enjoy a drink. So there was another aspect to, was I ready to commit to cutting that out, as well as all the other bits that the sugar is in, I guess. But I'm at a point now where, me and Ian have been doing this pod for 2 years. I've only got bigger. Nothing's worked, and I'm struggling to think of another plan that I haven't tried before that hasn't worked, and give myself a reason to suggest that might work again. Without actually fully committed and seeing that sugar might be the underlying tone of it, and actually make a long-lasting change. One of the things that has always placed in my mind has been around what happens if I get to a point where I want to enjoy some things that have sugar in at some point in my life, like I want to have a drink at some point. What happens then? How does your body cope with that? And how do you develop a better relationship maybe with sugar at that point? And or at the moment, I'm keen to pick up and ask questions that I think I've heard some answers for before, around the initial stages, the effects on your body. So I'm going through a period of quite a lot of intense work for the next 6 weeks, and I need to be fully focused, and I don't know how much this will either aid that or maybe be a hindrance in that first period. So they're the two kind of question marks I've got. Other than that, I think there's probably a lot of evidence to suggest that my relationship with being unhealthy and get to the size I am now suggests it's probably a sugar issue there.
Guys, thank you. I really appreciate it. I've been so impressed with Ethan Taylor, and now you guys, that, men in their mid-30s don't usually aren't this honest, especially to be willing to get out and have it on YouTube and what have you. So I first of all commend you for that, that honesty. Look, the stuff that you're going through, the stuff that you're describing, is, if you've hopefully watched the episodes with Ian and Taylor over the last 3 months, are pretty similar. I mean, you guys are articulate, and you've had big jobs, and you live in cosmopolitan central London, and it's like you're the same guys, okay? And we had success with them, and we can have success with you. To answer your questions real quick, I think it's important. What you're asking about sometime in the future is a very common question, and always a concern. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and when I helped alcoholics before I started helping sugar addicts, that's the main question. Do I have to do this for the rest of my life? And the same thing with sugar. And the part that's interesting is that you get to decide that, not me, not anyone. You get to decide that. And moreover, what's going to be the work, quote unquote, is that your body gets to decide it. As your friend described, that they can't do the hangovers anymore. You know, you will, when you get, and I'm confident you will get 90 days of abstinence, when you ingest sugar or when you ingest alcohol, it's just too hard and you just don't want to feel bad the next day. And so you'll want to continue it. And you know, you can use it if you like, but it's just, it becomes too hard. And the second part is the stress during the next 6 weeks. If you have a work thing or something, family thing, there is going to be a little rockiness in the next month. I just, you know, I will warn you of that. There will be a little emotional rockiness, but it's not insurmountable, and it's not incompatible with a stressful time in your life or work or whatever. You can do it. You know, both Ian and Taylor were going through some stuff and company changes and stuff, and did okay. I mean, they had to get more rest, they had to eat better, they had to get more exercise, and hydrate well, but they made it through, you know. So yes, that there will be, I'm gonna, you know, I'm shooting you straight, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a tougher than normal. So I think the important part that we move on to now is, I don't think you guys need convincing. A lot of times the reference or the referral of the success that Ian and Taylor have had over the last 3 months, I think is enough to say that this crazy guy that wants you to quit sugar and alcohol might be able to walk you through it. The hard part is that the emotional work, and that is the work, the emotional part is not something like, again, I've been so impressed with Ian and Taylor to be so honest about anger issues and sexual issues and digestive issues and all kind of different things that we talked about in those in those coaching sessions, that if you're willing to go through that, then we can make this happen. You know what I mean? And so I think the question there is like, the question always with any recovering person is, are you ready? Okay. Are you really ready this time? And you know, are you willing to do, it's a very counterintuitive, the alcohol thing really hit with Ian and Taylor when the springtime hit, and you can see on some of the videos that, you know, Ian's dart playing and it has to be done in a pub and blah, 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 you know, he started to discover new sides of himself, literally, that crowds are not where he seems to thrive. And so you're going to be experiencing new things that you just aren't familiar with. You may be similar to him, where the drink and in a lot of ways the food, but the drink and is something of a social lubricant so that you can feel safe. And you'll have to deal with your own insecurities, your own worries and fears. These sound like stuff that's, I don't know, a little woo-woo, but it's not. And it's scarier for guys because we never talk about this stuff. It's not stuff we, you know, normally talk with our girlfriends about, you know, our wives with. When I say girlfriends, I mean friends, you know, like women traditionally have had that. And you can see by this audience, you know, 95% of my clients and 95% of my coaches, well, heck, right at this moment, besides myself, 100% of my coaches are women. And so you're going to be in a situation that's going to be uncomfortable emotionally, not necessarily physically. You guys, like Ian, you guys are young, you're healthy, you know, you've played sport, you'll be fine physically. But emotionally, the work that you basically put off, you push down, the emotional work is going to come up, right? And that's the work we do. And if you're willing to do that, like I said, I'm willing. I don't know what your situation were, Ian's or the podcast or whatever, but we're willing to do it if you're willing to. So I guess the question is, are you ready? You know, I don't want you to sell me. I just want a firm commitment that you're ready for the next 90 days.
Gents, I think you should go into what you think there, because
you want us to commit to the lifestyle, to the sugar-free now,
or talk about your reservations, John. Really,
Again, it's just not something. This isn't what I was expecting, and I don't like to commit and then change my mind. Reservations. Well, just what's the benefits to it? I mean, I'm giving up alcohol. I'm pretty confident I will lose weight whatever I do now that I've given up alcohol. Like I'm gonna eat healthy and go to the gym and not drink any alcohol. Like I'm gonna lose weight whatever I do. What's the benefits to this over just a normal healthy lifestyle including sugar?
Well, maybe I'll let Ian answer that question. I mean, I can and I will, but let me turn it over to Ian.
Yeah, I'll go through what I've experienced, right? As you well know, John, I've tried every diet under the sun. I've been ballooning up and down with weight, and I had a big problem with stress eating, like you, Bob, where I was eating through my problems. What I've found over the last 4 months is, and I've carried on the diet since we finished the 90 days, is that I've got total clarity in my mind. I have so much energy, like I've never felt fitter in the gym, if I'm totally honest now. My relationships are far better with work and with everyone else. I'm not kind of being just going through the motions and being a bit miserable as I was before. And I've got the mental capacity to actually properly make change in my life. I think that's been the biggest change for me. And I don't see this as a diet. The one thing I've said consistently throughout the podcast since we've been recording it, however many years ago, is every time I've come off a diet, the first thing I do is put a chocolate bar to my mouth, and then fast forward 6 months and I'm back being fatter than I was before. And there is a direct link between me as a child being rewarded with chocolate bars, sweets, that sort of stuff for the stuff that I was doing, which means I'll always go back to that unless it's completely out of my life. And if I think about what I've had success-wise for the last 4 months, and by all means, I don't think I'm there. I've never seen a diet lose more weight as this in a consistent place without even trying. Like I
How much
didn't
have you
need to.
lost?
I'm 35 kilograms down now in 4 months. So that's pounds wise. What's that? 80?
Fair enough, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And for the first 2 months, I didn't exercise. I did a little bit of walking, and the weight was consistently coming off without me having to do a lot of exercise. In the third month, I decided that I wanted to increase exercise so that if I came off it at the end of the 90 days, then I'd have a good routine to be able to combat whatever diet I brought in. I've actually found that I'm 10 times fitter than I've ever been, and there's no fatigue when I exercise. There's nothing like that. And now I'm kind of upping the intensity. I'm doing full boxing sessions for an hour where my heart rate stays at around about 120. Whereas before I was in the kind of 170s, 160s and thinking I was about to pass out. So I'm a firm believer in it. By all means, I'm also in the camp of thinking what happens next, but I definitely am in a place, and so is Taylor, where we're not going to be putting chocolate or sweets anywhere near our face again.
Because Tay's gone back to alcohol, hasn't he? So
He's gone back to alcohol, yeah. He's not gone. I don't think he's gone back to sweets though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's quite good. That's a very good sign then. Because I thought as soon as Tay drank a drop of alcohol, he'd just go back.
No, his reasons for going back to alcohol is more of a wanting to have fun and meet women and that sort of stuff is all the reasons why. For me, I want to try and get fitter than I've ever been, and I've got my eye on a marathon next year where I want to run it in half the time that I did it last time, which will be a huge feat, and I want to box in November and be a force to be reckoned with.
Because this may be a question for Mike then. So when I used to exercise to quite a good level previously, I felt that, well, I know for a fact when I ate carbs, my speed would be better. Like I'd run quicker after eating carbs. So does your body adjust when you go on this diet, or do you just always underperform from not eating carbs?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
What you're describing is a little bit of a myth. Okay.
I know for a fact, like my times were better. My 5K times were better when I ate unhealthy. Well, not unhealthy, but when I ate carbs.
Yeah, again, it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. I mean, there may have been some times, and the phenomena of what's called carb loading, has been called carb loading through history, is really just that. It's a myth. We have an ultra marathoner that's a coach. I don't think she's on today, but her times are much better. The gold standard is Dr. Tim Noakes of South Africa, literally wrote the book on running, the lore of running. And he is responsible for the South Africans and the Africans and the Kenyans running and winning all the gold medals. And through his history, Professor Noakes preached carb loading until he got diabetes at 60 and had to reverse field and talk about the entirety of his work was wrong. And now he's wrote a book called The Lore of Nutrition and put his type 2 in remission. Again, it's a short-term fix, right? And it's a situation where you're not going to be able to continue it. And you hit walls more often. It's not as even a fueling. You know, the reason they give you that goo all the way through long marathons is because you're just upping your carbohydrates again and keeping your addiction alive. You're basically not getting a jolt of energy for burning what you think is burning calories, but you're stopping your dopamine from crashing, and you're just juicing it again, manually manipulating. And when I say dopamine, I mean dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, GABA, oxytocin, adrenal glands, endorphins. All of your brain and body reward chemicals are manipulated by sugar and flour and goo. So look, I can always explain the science. There's no problem there. I can always explain why things that used to work or you think worked in the past. But, you know, the whole question is like, has those ways of doing it, or the standard American diet industry, eat less and exercise more, which sounds like the program. And you're not alone. Like 99.9% of the people that come to me are brainwashed with this eat less and exercise more or don't drink kind of thing. And it's just not the answer. The answer is what we've been describing, is the emotional work of why you were using these substances to manage your emotions, right? And until you experience some abstinence and we find out what comes up, what surfaces, likely since you were a child, you've never been off of this stuff. And, you know, 15 days from now, if you decide you're going to be in a world of hurt, or there's going to be some changes emotionally. And that's where we're headed to help you change.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds good. How much coaching is there? Like, how many hours per week do we have to do these calls?
Well, again, I mean, we got to have to work this a little bit out with Ian and how we do this all live. But, you know, if you guys are willing to do it, we'll put you in our community, which has 4 or 5 meetings a day, all staffed by these lovely people you see here. And there's a challenge you go through that's all audio tape. You can do it by yourself. But at the end of the day, you know, it's as much as you want to put into it. I'm not your boss, and I'm not, you know, gonna.
Yeah, I mean, 5 meetings a day, that sounds too much. I'm not gonna lie.
Me and Tay did 1 meeting a week, John.
Ah.
Yeah. We jumped in on a couple of stuff in the community just because it's really helpful especially in that first month.
1 meeting a week, that's
but
fine. I thought maybe it was going to be one a day, and even one a day I was going to say is maybe just a bit too much. Just like I need to be cracking on with other stuff, right? But yeah, okay, no worries.
Let's give Robert a chance. Tell us,
sorry,
Robert.
can I just quickly ask one more question?
Yeah.
What would you do if you like go into a wedding? Like, what do you eat at a wedding? Yeah, because I mean, I already feel bad enough that I'm not going to be drinking. I don't want them to like have to like find some special food for me to eat. So what would you do at a wedding?
Yeah, the food questions are, you know, at the beginning, I know, and I empathize, and everyone here empathizes that is in your mind. But you will find after a long time of healing, mentally and emotionally that no one cares, and you're not, and it's not a problem, really. It never is a problem. It is always in your mind. And you'll see that. It's hard for me to transmit, what these people here have all experienced and what I've experienced, and put it in your mind that the worries and the fears that you have now will not be the same worries and fears that you have 6 months from now. Or, 100 kilos, or not kilos, 50 kilos from now, you know what I mean? So anyway, I understand everything you're asking. And, with guys, sometimes I'm a little bit more brusque than I am with women, but, this is life and death in my world, because I've had people die, and I don't like it. And you have to kind of look at it like that a little bit, and the stuff that you're doing, I've said this many times, and I'm getting a little stronger on it. And the reason I know it is because actually a few people on this line have gone through this process. You're not mentally capable right now to make the decisions required for your health, for your change of behavior in sugar and alcohol, because your frontal cortex has been hijacked. Your frontal cortex, the control center in the brain, the front of your brain, is being run by your limbic brain, your deep lizard brain, that is translating its need for self-soothing and these brain reward chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. They're translating it into a fabrication that's not real. Okay. And the reason I know this is because people will have the same type of resistance that you're having. But then 6 months from now, they'll say to me, I'm talking about doctors, lawyers, multimillionaires, people who are very successful in life. They say to me, Mike, I cannot believe that I was asking you those questions. I cannot believe that I was concerned about these things. You know what I mean? We have to get the abstinence in first, and we have to do the emotional work first. And then if you still want to ask those questions, I'll be here to ask them. So anyway, let's give it a shot with Robert. And Robert, what do you think, my friend?
Yeah, I've got a few questions. Drink, not alcohol, just liquid that you put in your body. What do you drink that has taste?
Nothing.
What can you
Water.
drink? That is it, water. Right.
Water, bubbly water with lemon in it. That's pretty raucous for me.
So you can put a drop of lemon in it, or
Yeah.
or some sort of.
One thing about the hydration part of it is that, and also the taste bud part of it, right? And the taste bud part of it is like your taste buds will change in less than 10 days, 10, 11 days. And you won't require whatever, sweetness, the sodas and, whatever. Obviously you won't be drinking alcohol, but you won't require it, and you'll just feel better. And again, look, you guys have done, I know that you, Robert, when working with Ian 2 years ago, this podcast started, you know what I mean? And now we have these two shining examples in Ian and Taylor. And all I'm asking is that you give it a whirl, you know what I mean? And it's going to sound, some of the stuff some of your athletic coaches may have said you did not want to do, sprints or whatever, you didn't want to do. And you did it because, he was running the team or what have you. Again, I'm a little tougher with guys than I am with women, but any more questions? Anything else that's
I jump in on that taste buds thing.
Oh yeah, go on then, yeah.
I never drank fizzy water before, and it's like champagne to me now. Genuinely, I drink it, and it's incredible. Which might sound incredibly boring, but I've only drunk water and fizzy water, and I do have decaf coffee somewhere once a day. There's no part of my brain that craves sugar.
This that, what do you keep calling it, a diet? Is caffeine allowed?
Yes, for now. Look, about 15%, I will be honest, about 15% of people seem to succeed by drinking black coffee or black tea, but a lot of them come around later and get off of it and have, clearer minds and less anxiety and better sleep. So it's up to you, but it does keep the cravings for
But
sugar alive.
It increases metabolism, right? Surely it's good for someone trying to lose weight.
Well, again, another myth. What it
Another
does,
myth.
it's kind of
Brilliant.
wires in your brain, like chocolate and tea and coffee are always paired with sugar. And so when you get the caffeine, your cravings for sugar stay alive. They're like, your body's like, where's the sugar on this equation? And so, yeah, again, it's going to sound very different. It's just going to sound different. And
Caffeine is okay.
I'm not asking for blind adherence. What I'm asking for is an open mind to
All
try
right.
something that might not, have worked before.
And Matt, I still the question about what I would eat at a wedding does still stand, because I know it might sound fairly insignificant, small, but I feel quite bad that I'm not going to be drinking alcohol at my friend's wedding, so I really don't want to piss him off even more by complaining about the food.
You know what the menu is?
I think it's something weird, like Mexican or something like that.
No, that might be a problem.
Yeah, and I've already ordered.
Yeah. I would eat
But
before I go.
can I just have
I would
one
eat
cheat
before-
day or not?
Yeah, eat before you go, have a little cheese, have a little things that you can have, and usually,
you can't have one cheat day.
right.
No.
And I'm not your boss or your parent. Like, you can do what you want to do, but I'm not gonna, your success is slowed or, a little off if you do that. So, Robert, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I have less less reservations about, I don't have any weddings coming up, for example, anything coming up where I might be like, oh, how am I going to manage? You either commit to it or you don't. So I've got no questions there really. My questions are more around the practicalities of it, just to remind me. So the drink you've answered, the answer is you have water, right? There are no flavored options that fit in that don't have some sort of sugar variant of some sort. So that's an easy, straightforward one. In terms of food, I look back at some of the photos that Ian and Taylor put into our group for the podcast when they started, and there seemed to be some green on some of those plates. Now, I don't know if that was because they were just kind of weaning themselves off of green. This was, this was like week one type stuff. The vegetable side of things, obviously, I know that you eat meat, right? And you have limited to no sauce or anything with that because there's sugar in that. Like, and maybe this is aimed as much as it is at Ian. Is it just meat and eggs? Is there any veg that you can have? Like, how can you make your meals? What's the kind of, are there tricks to make your meals a bit more interesting to some degree? Or again, will that just be over time? Plain meals are interesting because your taste buds change.
I haven't personally eaten veg since the 12th of January.
Oh.
I just eat meat, yeah. And the fatty meat is the bit that I eat. I do eat a bit of dairy sometimes, so I have some cheese, which is like, if I'm starving and I want something, I'll have a bit of cheese, but I'm not like lathering it over my food. I much prefer just eating meat. And the fatty bits are good because they're full of taste. So lamb chops, beef, that sort of stuff is the bits that I'm eating.
And you don't have any, say you had chicken, you wouldn't like put a bit of paprika on it, seasoning or something.
No,
Well,
if I'm out, and I've been out a lot recently, and I can't avoid it on a thing, I'll eat what I can, but mainly just the meat on the
Yeah.
plate. The like traditional roast dinner, I would just have the meat bit and leave the veg
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff
And
aside.
no gravy, just the meat.
No, just the meat. Yeah.
Yeah, gravy's fine, mate.
So one thing I will jump in is that it's very rare. I mean, I have to commend both Taylor and Ian that it's very rare what they did. It's a testament, I think, to their readiness and their belief and their time to do it. But I used to, before I kind of adopted it personally, and a lot of the people in our community did, I used to call it high green keto. If you want to add greens to your meat as you transition off, and then a month from now or so try maybe less greens, that's fine, but you can't eat the starchy stuff. You can't eat the sweet potatoes and the potatoes, and you probably know that anyway from other diets. But if you want to do some greens, don't worry about it.
What would be the better ones to start with? I'm thinking like if I had eggs, can I put some spinach in it, for example?
Yeah, no,
Was
that's
that
fine. Spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale and those kind of greens, that's fine. Again, it's very rare that people go directly to the carnivore or high meat keto. And again, perfection is not what we're after. And this happens a lot, and this is probably instructional for all the trainee coaches coming up, is that strangely enough is not really the issue. And we're going to keep you in whole food as long as we can keep you committed to no flour, no sugar, then you're going to do fine. And you kind of commit to the understanding that you got to figure out, what you're going to be writing down is not your journal of what you ate. Well, you will a little bit, but you'll be writing down how you felt before you ate, and especially if you eat something starchy or whatever, and then how you felt afterwards, and then how you feel generally. And, this is the work, how you feel after you exercise, how you feel after you just sleep or didn't sleep well. And so there's the focus of the work, if you will, the focus of the behavioral change process moves away pretty quickly after the first 30 days for sure from the food. But you're not unlike most everyone comes in wanting a food plan and an exercise plan. These are the things that the diet industry has convinced us is the answer to this problem, right? So, you're very common questions and very common concerns. But I want to try and relieve those concerns simply because that passes quickly in 30 days. And 30 days goes pretty fast, you'll see. Let me just close this door. I'll be right back.
The first month and before, when I was dieting on like calorie controlled diets, your stomach's talking to you all the time saying you're starving and you get in a bad mood and that sort of stuff. And eventually you get a little bit used to it. And I think before I would think that's my stomach getting smaller. Whereas with this diet, after sort of week 3, week 4, your brain doesn't have that at all. You wake up, you're not hungry. You can miss breakfast, you're not hungry. You can miss lunch, you're not hungry. And when you eat, your mood improves a little bit, but you're not like, where's the next meal? Where's the next meal? Where's the next meal? And currently I'm eating 2 meals a day without trying. I'm not purposely missing breakfast. I just don't need it. I have probably 2 chicken breasts every lunch, and then at night I'll eat some sort of steak, and I'm full, like totally full. And on the back of that, if I go out for a meal, I can overeat and eat a 800 kilogram steak if I want to. But my brain is never saying, the bit that I'm noticing is that I've got a problem with portion size, and my brain always wants the biggest portion size. And this is giving me the ability to actually try and chop that down and get something a little bit more sustainable.
have you seen that change then, Ian, or do you still feel like you want to put more meat on the plate or whatever because you've got nothing else?
I've noticed it when I exercise, actually. I think there's something linked to exercise. My brain wants a lot more food. But on normal days, I really don't need to eat that much. I can eat next to nothing and I'll be content. But when you're eating meat, you actually get to a point where you can only eat so much.
And you're literally just eating meat and eggs, right?
Barely eggs anymore.
Right.
Just meat, yeah. Fish as well. I do eat a lot of fish.
No fish.
Yeah. I try and mix up a different protein every day, basically. Fish, lamb, steak, whatever.
Yeah. And how did you find like the first few weeks, which is my only real remaining concern before committing to it, is I'm studying for some qualifications at the minute. I'm doing a lot of hours. I'm really focused, and like, how were the headaches, or what were the drawbacks in the first few weeks that would hinder me?
I got some brain fog, but it wasn't all day. It would be bad for a half hour. And then in the early days, I was eating a load more food than I'm eating right now. And you kind of eat through because you're kind of giving up that hunger bit. So I was eating massive amounts of meat to get through it. And then I got to a point where I was just like so full. I couldn't do that. But away from that, you get some sort of diarrhea symptoms, but that's more kind of week 3 for me. It was, and that's your body getting used to it. But again, it doesn't affect you day to day. I was still going to work. I never had any days off or anything. I did miss a train once and got on a wrong train, but that was where my brain was fried at the end of a normal day, and like 6, 7 o'clock at night. It would have been pretty normal anyway. But it was
And how
particularly bad that day. I
was
was
that?
like a zombie.
Was that in the first 4 weeks?
Yeah, first couple of weeks. But again, you go through waves of like incredible days, and then maybe like one day that's slightly bad, and then you're going back to being a level par, where your body's getting used to it all. It's not a constant thing. And again, the only thing I found was that my mood was going from being quite content to being quite flary at times, but again, I wasn't losing my brain with anyone at work. I managed to work full days and do everything normally. But the beauty comes after month one. That's when you get to this state where you really start seeing a personality you probably haven't seen since. For me, I hadn't seen that guy since I was like 14 years old, where you don't have anything in you, right? And that's where the real fun starts. You can start really kind of getting everything sorted and start planning properly about what you want to do and this sort of thing. For me, I overload myself with stuff that I want to do in life, and the mental clarity this has given me to get all my stuff in order is the reason why I'm still going. It's like I'm not. It's about now. What life do I want to have, and what life do I want to be in? And this has given me the mental space to be able to do that.
Yeah, which is the bit that excites me, to be honest. It's just a concern for the first few weeks of it, given what I'm doing. That's the only concern I've really got at the moment. The rest of it, I'm pretty on board with.
Yeah, I think calorie counting was worse than this for the first 4 months, for the first 4 weeks. 2,200 calories was easily one of the hardest things I've done, because you're trying to still keep all your old habits while getting the 2002. And then if I eat one chocolate bar, I want to eat 10. So then I'm sitting there going, should I sacrifice a meal and just eat a whole Easter egg? Like, you don't
And I
need to
guess
do
that's
that,
the
really.
problem, right? Is the calorie count is you're constantly, if it's a sugar addiction, you're like, if you're an alcohol addict, the remedy would be cut alcohol. So you don't
Yeah.
have alcohol. But the sugar addiction is like to get over an addiction, but you're still putting sugar in you so frequently. Doesn't That's the problem. That doesn't make sense. So that's why it's so hard
And
to,
I
to
watched,
overcome.
is that film called That Sugar Film?
Yes, that's
Maybe.
one of them.
I think I watched that, and it's insane where sugar is in your day to day, like where they're pumping this stuff. So getting it all out of your system, you do get to this place of like nirvana again. That I can't imagine any British people 200 years ago were eating this amount of sugar, because it wasn't grown here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think our ancestors might have been that addicted to Mars bars and Snickers.
Well, any other questions, guys? I mean, I look, it's obviously impossible to do this coaching more than an intake and kind of a introduction to what we're up to in an hour. But again, I'm happy to work with you guys. You guys get with Ian, figure out how that'll all work, but happy to figure it out and happy to get you guys going. Your questions are all very normal and very common. It's just that the solution is a little counterintuitive to the public knowledge of what weight loss and health is today. And again, it doesn't really revolve around the food much after the first 30 days or so. The work is a little different, that's all. And I'll be asking you questions that'll kind of dig into your background and dig into your, things that men don't normally have articulation for, like, where are you feeling this anger in your body, or where are you feeling this frustration, or why are you frustrated, or those kinds of things that are just different than a guy's going to tell you to get down and get 20 push-ups and quit eating pasta. It's just not the same. It's just a little different how we walk through it and out the other side. And I think one of the things that we got a few more minutes, but Ian has been hitting on kind of tangentially or maybe on purpose, and I think his actual experience is our experience as well. All of our success stories, some people lose 100 pounds, 50 kilos, they put type 2 diabetes in remission. But the number one thing that they talk about is that their brain came back online, that they could focus better, they could remember better, they slept better, the anxiety was less. And one of the things I really love about Ian and Taylor is that and I'm actually jealous and impressed. They're like my own sons. You know, they're living big, cosmopolitan, mid-London lives, and they're wanting to do more with their life. They wanted to be have more success, have more influence, have more money, whatever it is. They're trying to grow in that way. And I think you've heard it from Ian, and I've definitely seen it from him and Taylor, and seen it myself and a lot of people on this line and a lot of people in the groups, is that once it's behind you, the thoughts are really very rarely about sugar and stuff. They're about, how can I change my life for the better? How can I get better? How can I do the dreams that have been trapped forever? And how can I get there quicker? And, I'm not getting any younger, kind of thing. And when am I going to do it? A lot of times weight and self-esteem and these things hold you back. It's not necessarily that you're not confident or talented enough. It's that, we're sabotaging ourselves for a reason. We're holding our back self for a reason. What I'm going to help you do is discover why you're doing it, what you're covering up, and how to move forward. Okay. And again, it's not your fault. It's the society, it's the food system. It's, that you can give this product to a baby, and most people were indoctrinated into it. And so, moving forward, we have different goals than, give me 20 push-ups and don't eat pasta. Okay. So, and that can't heal you. It can't heal your brain, which is what we're here to heal, not your, the fat you're carrying or whatever. So anyway,
Well,
any other
Mike,
questions?
one last question was just one thing topic we haven't touched on is sleep.
Yeah.
So what's this? Is there a particular science behind how it affects your sleep, or away from the science aspect, like Ian, from your point of view, have you seen a change in your sleep with this?
I sleep like a baby.
Giving up alcohol makes you sleep better though as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole getting to sleep is so easy. I don't have any of that staring at the ceiling, overthinking anymore. The dog tries to keep me up all night as well, but I just sleep through that to my missus's joy when he's barking at the foxes outside. But yeah, you feel much better, and also in time you'll feel what proper tiredness is. I was at a wedding the other week, and I was out till like 1 o'clock, and I was knackered. Like, everyone else was battered on the coach on the way back, and they were falling asleep in the back of the coach, and I was falling asleep with them. But I was like proper tired, and then you wake up, feel brilliant because you've had 8 hours of good sleep, because you have there's nothing disturbing that sleep. You feel fantastic. So
Getting out
sleep's
of
the
bed,
one
I
thing that
guess,
I
is
can
easier, is it?
still.
Getting out of bed in the morning, I guess you got less lethargic in the morning, or
I'm up at 6 every morning, even on the weekends. Again, my missus doesn't quite like that, but yeah, I'm up out doing whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
so
nice.
much easier.
Guys, it's been a pleasure, man. I really commend you for, taking this first meeting, and looking forward to working with you guys if you so decide. I mean, it's been an honor. Taylor and Ian have been just star students. They listen. I think the important part is that they listen, and they think I'm crazy half the time, but they still did it. So that was cool. So, and now it's norm, now it's a norm for them. And so hopefully we can accomplish the same thing for you guys.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Mike, and everyone. I really appreciate
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Thank you very much.
Okay, come on back, guys. We'll be looking for you.
it. Thanks, guys.
Ian, take us out there, my friend.
Yeah, lovely. Do you want to send, if you're interested, your details to Mike to get added to their community? I think the community is really good. There's tons of advice there, and all of your questions are answered at any point, especially in that first few weeks. You'll have weird symptoms that you need an answer to. And these lovely ladies, as well as everyone else in the community, kind of give you their experience. Nikki's been a great help for us as well. Shout out, Nikki. I can see that she's on the call. Yeah. So, yeah, if you're up for it and you want to do it, then I'd advise getting on that community if Mike's fine with that.
Yep, sounds good.
Perfect. We'll do.
All right,
Lovely.
guys.
See you all soon.
We've got some diet plans, health scans, sugar bans, fitness fans, PTs, injuries, laying off the Chinese, ball games, gym chains, protein gains and skin tight tops, and we ain't gonna stop until we hit the 50k. Drop, 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 drop. No excess fat, no FAT, no curry back, no guarantee. Rough or buff, lean on me. We'll end up as fit as a bear.